there. I've created Grandma's House so I could be a loving Christian grandma to every child I meet. You're going to meet some real kids who come every week for love and Christian mentoring. Many of them are hearing about Jesus for the first time. My hope and prayer is that you will be inspired to open your arms and heart to your neighborhood children. Welcome to Grandma's House. Hi everybody, come on in here. We're getting ready to play a game of hide and seek. I'm so glad to have you join us today. I have a lot of my own grandkids that are here in town. We're all so excited to get together. We're going to play a game now. We want you to join us as we hunt. How many hunters and how many hiders do I have? I had think of 4 hiders. Hunter? Okay, hunters, come right here. We're going to count to 100 and you guys... You're a hunter, good. Okay, yes, my hunters. The rest of you?
Somebody counts and some people hide, and the person, when they're finished counting, they get to find the persons.
Go! Okay, we're gonna count to 100, guys. Ready? Cover our
I was in it. I had to catch everyone.
17, 18, 19, 20.
That was so cool.
98, 99, 100. Here we go.
The girls were easy to catch, but the boys were hard. The boys are so easy to outrun, even that they're older than me, and they have longer legs. I like playing out hide and seek because I can outrun an adult. It was really fun. I was the one who found all the people, and it was really hard, but I only found 2. Dollhouses and tree houses and tents and bushes and hammocks and bugs and lizards and things.
I was running around in the yard, and when I was heading to the base, Beth turned around and got me when I was heading over there.
That was a day I'll never forget. What more could you want?
Oh, you guys tired? Yeah. Well, I want to ask you guys a question. What's the best place you ever found to hide?
I don't know.
You don't know? How about you guys? Did you ever find a place to hide where nobody ever found you?
I know.
Where? Over across the creek? Well, where I hid one time, it was not across the creek. But you know, I can tell the story much better if we take a visit down at the barn. Okay, you guys want to go down to the barn? Let's go. The barn's this way.
Near the tree house?
No, in the barn.
Come on.
Oh, this is a great old barn. Love being out here. We've had a lot of fun, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Well, on our way to the very back of the barn here, where I'm going to tell you a story. We've run into a lot of interesting things, but this is probably the most interesting thing in the barn. Are you ready to see what it is?
Yeah.
All right. David, you can help me. We'll pull this off. Now, what do you think this object is? Has it got stuck down there? Woo.
Cabinet? A dresser?
Well, come around the front. If you can, come and take a look at it.
Whoa.
Let's guess.
I'm gonna get off.
Here, I'll help you. Come on down. Look at all the doors.
It's a dresser.
It's a dresser. Huh.
cabinet.
Any other guess? A cabinet? Well, let me take what?
An icebox.
It is an ice box. These are the old-fashioned refrigerators. And this is the one I want to tell you a story about. I was probably 3 years old, and we had one of these. And the house we lived in didn't have any electricity, so how we'd keep our food cold. And ours, the top would lift up, and you'd put a big chunk of ice in there, and that's how it would keep your food cold. Well, anyway, one day, finally, we got electricity. And that was a big day in our house. And my dad took the old ice box out, and he put it out by the garage. And he was getting ready to take it and get rid of it. And of course, he told me very clearly, stay away from the ice box. But of course, did I stay away?
No.
No. What happened was all my cousins came over, and we started playing a game of hide and seek, just like today. And I wanted to find a place to hide where no one would find me. So, where do you think I hid? In the ice box. Oh, and that's a terrible thing to do. Terrible. So I crawled in there, little as I was, I crawled in the door like this, and I pulled the door shut. And I was in there, I was so proud of myself. I was saying, boy, nobody's going to find me now. And you know, it was great for a little while. But after I was in there a little while, it started to get kind of hot and stuffy, and I couldn't breathe very well. And I could hear the kids going around and around outside saying, Joyce, Joyce, where are you? Couldn't find me, couldn't find me. Pretty soon somebody was saying, Ollie, Ollie, oxen in free. But I couldn't get out. I couldn't go in free. So I tried to push on the door, but you know, there's no latches inside. So I couldn't get out. I was stuck, and it kept getting hotter and hotter in there. And I was starting to get scared. Well, outside, the kids were looking for me. Pretty soon they got tired. So they went in the house and just played some other games. But you know, after a while, my mother said, you know, are all the children in? You know, I didn't think to count. Let's check and see if they're all in. So they all started looking for me, the grown-ups did, and started calling and calling. You know, I don't remember another thing until all of a sudden, my dad was there and he opened the door, and I'd leaned up against the door and I just fell out right on the ground. And you know, if he hadn't come out and found me just when he did, I might have died. So that's, you know, you got to be careful where you hide. Sometimes it's good to hide in good places, and other times it's good to hide someplace where somebody can find you in case of emergency, right? So what do you think of the old ice box? Is it pretty, or would you like to have one in your house, or what?
Grandma took us out to the barn and showed us an old refrigerator. You have to put a big block of ice in it and a pan to keep yourself cold.
There's no place that you could hide from God. He knows where you are, and he knew that she was going to die in the ice box, so he told her dad that she was hiding in there, and he got there right at the last minute.
The reason you should never get inside of a refrigerator, new or old, the new one is because you would get very, very cold, but no one would find you, and the old is because you could die.
Why don't you guys get out your pencil and papers and get ready to get down my address? You know how I love to hear from you. So, here it is.
Hey kids, Grandma Neil would love to hear from you. She loves to get pictures, drawings, and anything else you may want to send her. She also answers each one of your letters, so get your pen ready and write down her address, okay? If you want to write her a letter, address it to Grandma's house, Post Office Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois, 62896, USA. That's Grandma's house, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois, 62896, USA. Grandma also loves to get emails at grandma@3abn.org. That's grandma@3abn, that's the number 3 and the letters abn.org. She'd love to hear from you.
I think we should write to Grandma Neil, like all the kids all over the world write to Grandma Neil and everything. Or we could also communicate to her on computers. We can email her and everything. It's actually pretty fun to be with Grandma Neil.
I am so glad you came to have fun with us today. The more kids there are, the more fun it is. And yet, when it's only you and me, I love this time the best. Today, I want you to get to know me a little better. I want to tell you about something I like a lot. Could you guess? Probably not. So I'll just tell you, it's poetry. I especially like poems written by my kids, my grandkids. Maybe you'll write me a poem someday. And I like poems about kids. One of my favorites is called Are All the Children In? It tells about an old house where lots of children lived and played outside all day. When it got dark, the mother would call them in, and then she would look around the room and say, "Are all the children in?" Then the poet wonders, when Jesus comes and calls his children to come home, will he look all around and ask, "Are all the children in?" You know, when I got stuck inside the old icebox, I was so glad that somebody thought to ask if all of us kids were in. It was wonderful to have somebody watching over us. There is someone else who watches over us with the greatest of care. It's Jesus. I've told you before that he has gone to build a beautiful city for us to live in. I think he's busy there right now building lovely houses and parks and gardens and pets for everyone. It's almost finished now, but nobody lives there yet. Could you imagine how quiet the streets must be? But it won't be quiet there for much longer. Jesus has promised to come back and find every one of his children and take them to live with him. After all the families and the friends have gone in, I wonder, will Jesus look around and ask, "Are all the children in?" What do you think? I think he will. Do you know that it cost Jesus everything he had just so you could be there? Jesus paid way more than just money for you. He died for you. That was everything he had. That's how valuable you are to him. So am I, and so is every other person in this world. He loves us all so much. And someday, very soon, when it's time for all his children to move into the new city, I know he will be sure to ask, "Are all the children in?" He'll be so glad to see us, and we will be happier than we've ever been before to see him. I promise that I will be there. Will you promise me to be there too? Until the next time, remember that I pray for you every night and that I love you.
This is Grandma's house.
To be a grandma, you'd have to probably be like 50 or older, because then you start getting wrinkly and everything. So when we're in the bus, we're like, we can't wait till we go to Grandma Neil's. We're all like screaming and shouting and everything.
When she talks about Jesus and reads about him, it makes it sound like he's really fun and it's really fun up in heaven.
Grandma makes me feel special.
Thanks, Grandma Neil, you're the best. If I say anything else, I'll keep on going on and on and on and on and on and on.
And my grandma told me that you could point to where you wanted to go and go up there and walk, or you could fly.
On and on and on and on.
And everything's gold up there.
On and on and on and on.
I don't know about this.